11:42 p.m. Club Ebony is sweating through its tuxedo. Brass horns scream over a drumline that feels like it's punching the floorboards. The air tastes like gin and cigarette ash and perfume turned warm on skin. 250 bodies packed tight. Laughing. Shouting. Moving like one organism under red lights that make everyone look guilty. Down a narrow hallway behind the dance floor, a door swings once. Then again. And then it stops. A young woman's heel scrapes against tile. Hard. Desperate. A hand clamps around her forearm and yanks her backward. Her back hits a sink with a dull thud that the music swallows whole. She tries to scream. The sound comes out. Loud. Sharp. Nobody hears it. 3 men crowd the doorway, blocking light, blocking air. One smells like whiskey and garlic. One smells like cologne over sweat. The third has a blade-shaped grin and fingers that keep touching his jacket pocket like he's reassuring himself it's still there. The woman fights. Not politely. Not like a socialite. Like someone who has been warned her whole life that the world doesn't care what happens in rooms like this. And then, in the last stall, a latch clicks. A stall door creaks open slow, like the building itself is waking up. A man steps out. Short. Thick-shouldered. Gray at the temples. Calm in a way that makes every other kind of calm feel fake. He adjusts his cuffs like he has all the time left in the world. The 3 men turn and their faces drain. Because they recognize him instantly. Bumpy Johnson. And the only thing worse than being caught is realizing you were never alone. Harlem has rules. Manhattan has laws. They're not the same thing. In Manhattan, the cops wear uniforms and pretend the city runs on paperwork. In Harlem, the streets run on memory. On reputation. On who keeps their word. On who pays for broken windows and who pays for broken bones. Club Ebony sits right at the intersection of those two worlds. A place where Harlem elegance meets Harlem danger. Dressed up in velvet and jazz. Politicians slip in through side doors. Singers test new songs on crowds that know real pain. Mob-connected men come uptown to feel powerful in a neighborhood they don't fully understand. On Friday nights, Ebony is the hottest room in Harlem. Not because of the liquor. Because of the temperature of the people inside it. Ambition. Desire. Hunger. Pride. 11:15 p.m. The club is already packed. Tables full. Bar 3 deep. The band hitting a groove that makes even tired couples stand up and pretend the week didn't beat them down. In the center of it all sits Elise. 21 years old. Bumpy Johnson's daughter. And tonight is her birthday. She isn't wearing anything flashy. That's deliberate. Elise learned early that attention is a tax. She wears a simple dress, fitted tasteful. A pearl necklace. Gloves folded in her purse. Hair pinned back with precision. The kind of young woman older Harlem aunties point at and say, "Now that's how you carry yourself." Elise doesn't use the Johnson name when she goes out. She uses her mother's maiden name. Not because she's ashamed. Because she wants a life where every conversation isn't a negotiation with her father's shadow. A normal night. That's all she wants. She came with 2 girlfriends, laughing, sipping slow drinks, leaning close to each other to be heard over the band. They'd been planning this night for weeks. A birthday in Ebony means something. It means you're grown enough to claim space. Elise is smiling when the first problem locks onto her. At the bar, 3 men sit with the posture of people who believe they can take anything they want. They're not Harlem. Their accents are wrong. Their suits are too shiny. Their laughter is too loud. Tony Romano. Sal Benedetto. Marco Russo. Low-level soldiers connected to the Genovese family. Not bosses. Not men whose names show up in newspapers. These are the ones who do errands and collect envelopes and prove themselves by being cruel in rooms where they think they're untouchable. They've been drinking hard. Their faces are flushed. Their eyes glassy. Their confidence inflated by liquor and the assumption that Harlem is a playground. They notice Elise across the room and stare too long. Romano leans in, says something. Benedetto laughs. Russo's grin doesn't reach his eyes. They watch her like predators watch a fence, looking for the weak spot. Elise's girlfriends leave the table to dance. Elise stays behind, adjusting her lipstick in a compact mirror, smiling at a passing waitress, taking a quiet breath. For a moment, she's alone. And in a room like this, alone can be an invitation. The three men slide off their stools. They don't rush. They don't need to. They're not thinking about consequences. They're thinking about the hallway behind the bathrooms. No security cameras. No guards posted. Just a narrow passage where the music gets louder and the witnesses get fewer. They don't recognize Elise. That's the first mistake. They don't ask who she is. That's the second. And they don't check the last stall. That's the one that ends them. 11:42 p.m. Elise stands and moves toward the ladies' room. She walks with confidence, but she's alert. She's a Harlem woman raised around men who speak softly and do terrible things. She knows how to read a room's temperature. She feels the shift behind her. Footsteps. Too many. Too close. She turns her head slightly, sees three silhouettes closing distance. Her pulse tightens. She doesn't run. Running invites chasing. She keeps her pace steady, trying to reach the ladies' room door. They cut her off before she can. Romano steps into her path, blocking the hallway. Benedetto slides behind her, sealing the exit. Russo leans against the wall, casual, like this is flirtation. Romano grabs her arm. Romano. Where you going, pretty thing? His hand is heavy. Possessive. Elise's skin crawls under his grip. Elise's voice stays controlled, but sharp. Elise. Let go. Romano squeezes slightly, testing. Elise. You don't know who my father is. Benedetto laughs, a harsh bark. Benedetto. We don't care who your father is. Russo's grin widens. Russo. Ain't nobody here gonna save you. Elise's stomach drops, but her body doesn't freeze. That's the difference between girls who grew up protected by luck and girls who grew up protected by lessons. Bumpy taught Elise to defend herself. Not with fantasies. With reality. He taught her to strike soft spots. Throat. Groin. Knees. Eyes. He taught her how to use keys like a weapon. How to break a grip. How to stomp a foot with full weight. He told her once, calm as if giving advice about the weather. If you ever get cornered, baby, you don't fight fair. You fight to get away. Elise twists her wrist, trying to break Romano's hold. Benedetto moves in, grabs her other arm. Russo steps forward, watching her like a show. Elise kicks back hard, heel slamming into Benedetto's shin. He curses. His grip loosens for half a second. Elise tries to bolt forward. Romano yanks her sideways, slamming her into the men's bathroom door. The door swings open. And suddenly the world changes texture. Tile underfoot. Fluorescent lights buzzing. Stale urine and disinfectant. A grimy mirror reflecting faces in harsh truth. 4 stalls lining the wall. All appear empty. Romano and Benedetto drag her in. Russo swings the door closed behind them, sealing the music out and sealing the terror in. Elise screams. It comes out raw. Full. A sound that should stop time. The band hits a crescendo. Horns swallow everything. Outside, people clap. Inside, Elise fights. Romano shoves her toward the sink. Her hip hits porcelain. Pain flashes up her side. Benedetto tries to pin her arms. Russo steps close, eyes hard. Russo. Relax. You'll like it. Elise's breath comes fast. Her hands search for leverage. She drives an elbow into Benedetto's ribs. He grunts. She snaps her head back, catching Romano in the nose. He yells, blood instantly flooding his upper lip. Romano. You little. He raises a hand like he's about to hit her. Elise's heart hammers. Not panic. Focus. She kicks low, aiming for his knee. He shifts, but her heel clips him. He stumbles. For a second, Elise is upright. Free. Russo lunges. Elise snatches the nearest object she can reach. A metal soap dispenser bolted to the wall. She rips it upward with both hands. It doesn't come off, but the jerk throws her body sideways, making Russo's grab miss. She slams her palm into his throat. Not hard enough to crush. Hard enough to disrupt. Russo coughs, eyes watering. Elise moves again, trying to reach the door. Benedetto catches her hair. Yanks her back. Her scalp screams with pain. Benedetto. You ain't going nowhere. Elise claws at his wrist, digging nails into skin. She twists, using the momentum to drive her knee up into his groin. Benedetto folds, gagging. Elise breaks free. She reaches the door handle. Romano grabs her from behind, arms around her waist like a bear trap. Romano. I'll teach you manners. Elise bucks, throwing her weight backward. Romano stumbles but doesn't release. Russo recovers, stepping in with a hand raised, face twisted with anger now. The fun is gone. Now it's punishment. Elise tries to scream again. But her throat is tight. Her breath caught. And then, behind them, the last stall latch clicks. A small sound. Almost nothing. But in that room, it's louder than the band. The last stall door creaks open. Slow. Deliberate. 3 heads turn at once. A man steps out. Bumpy Johnson. He's 58, but his eyes are younger than theirs. Sharper. He's been sitting in that stall the entire time, invisible, listening to every word, hearing every threat the way a father hears a gun being cocked in the dark. His face is calm. Not blank. Calm. He adjusts his cuffs. Straightens his jacket. Like he's preparing for a business meeting. Romano's arms loosen around Elise without him realizing it. Benedetto's mouth hangs open. Russo's hand drops to his side. They know that face. Harlem men have told their cousins downtown. Downtown men have warned each other in back rooms. Don't disrespect Harlem. Don't play games with Bumpy Johnson. Don't confuse his quiet for weakness. And in this bathroom, with a young woman shaking but standing, the 3 Genovese soldiers understand too late. They didn't just pick the wrong woman. They picked the wrong universe. Bumpy's voice is low. Controlled. Deadlier than shouting. Bumpy. Gentlemen. He steps forward once. The tile barely makes sound under his shoes. Bumpy. That's my daughter. Elise's eyes lock on his. Relief hits her so hard her knees almost buckle. But she stays upright. Because her father taught her that too. Don't collapse until you're safe. Bumpy looks at the 3 men the way a man looks at trash on his doorstep. Bumpy. You have one chance. His tone doesn't rise. It doesn't need to. Bumpy. Apologize. And leave Harlem. Silence. Romano's nostrils flare. Blood drips from his nose onto his shirt. He's humiliated. Drunk. And stupid enough to think pride matters more than survival. Romano's hand slides into his jacket. Elise's breath catches. She sees the movement. Knife. Of course. Men like this always need a weapon when they realize they're outmatched. Bumpy doesn't react like a man surprised. He reacts like a man who has been waiting. Romano's fingers close around the knife. Bumpy moves. Not like an old man. Like a switchblade. 1 step. 1 angle. His hand clamps onto Romano's wrist before the blade clears the jacket. Then a twist. A sound fills the bathroom. Crack. An audible crack that makes Elise flinch. Romano screams, the knife clattering to the tile as his forearm bends at a wrong angle, bone shifted under skin like a broken branch. It takes 2 seconds. Bumpy releases him and Romano collapses against the sink, howling, eyes wide with disbelief. Benedetto panics and bolts for the door. Bumpy's foot slides out, blocking the exit with casual precision. Benedetto tries to shove past. Bumpy kicks the back of Benedetto's knee. Not a flashy kick. A surgical one. Benedetto drops instantly, face slamming into the door, breath exploding out of him. He groans, hands clawing at the floor. Russo freezes. He's the kind of man who likes cutting people when they're helpless. He's never been helpless himself. He backs up one step, palms raised. Russo. Mr. Johnson, we didn't know. Bumpy's eyes don't blink. Bumpy. You didn't ask. Russo swallows. His gaze flicks toward Elise, then away quickly like he can't bear to look at what he almost did. Elise steps toward her father. Her hands are shaking now. Adrenaline draining. She's unhurt, but the air still feels dirty on her skin. Bumpy turns to her, voice softer. Bumpy. You all right? Elise nods, throat tight. Elise. Yes. Bumpy studies her for 1 second, checking for injuries without touching her. Then he turns back to the three men. This is where Harlem expects Bumpy to kill them. This is where the legend usually ends. 3 men disappear. No police report. No questions. But Bumpy doesn't kill them. He has something worse planned. Because death is private. And what these men attempted was public in its impact, even if it happened in a bathroom. Bumpy wants a lesson that travels. He looks at Elise again. Bumpy. Go tell the DJ to stop the music. Elise blinks. Confused. What? Bumpy's voice stays calm. Bumpy. Everyone needs to hear this. Elise hesitates. Then nods. She steps out into a hallway, hands still shaking, adjusting her dress, pushing through the noise like she's underwater. She reaches the DJ booth. The DJ, a man in a sharp suit with headphones around his neck, sees Elise's face and stiffens. Elise leans close and says something in his ear. The DJ's eyes widen. He looks toward the hallway. His hand hovers over the record. He stops the music. The needle lifts. The horns die mid-breath. For a second, Club Ebony is pure confusion. 250 people turn their heads. Conversations stop halfway through sentences. A laugh dies in someone's mouth. The silence is loud enough to feel. Then the bathroom door swings open. Bumpy Johnson steps out first. Behind him, he drags 3 men. Romano is half supported, half dragged, his broken arm dangling, face wet with sweat and blood. Benedetto limps, his knee buckling, fear in his eyes. Russo walks stiffly, trying to hold on to dignity that has already left the room. The crowd parts instinctively. Like water making space for a shark. Bumpy moves them onto the main floor under the lights. Elise stands near the DJ booth now, trying to steady her breathing, trying not to cry in front of strangers. Her girlfriends rush back to her, horrified, hands covering mouths. Bumpy turns to the room. He doesn't shout. He doesn't need a microphone. His voice carries because everyone is listening. Bumpy. These men followed my daughter into the bathroom. A murmur ripples through the crowd. Shock. Anger. Fear. Bumpy points to Romano. Bumpy. Tell them. Romano's lips tremble. His pride is gone. Pain and terror have burned it out. Romano tries to speak and fails. His throat tight. Bumpy leans closer, voice quiet. Bumpy. Confess. Or I stop being patient. Romano swallows hard and forces the words out. Romano. We tried to. His eyes flick to Elise, then away. Romano. We tried to assault her. A gasp slices through the room. Bumpy points to Benedetto. Bumpy. You too. Benedetto's jaw clenches. He looks like he might refuse. Then he sees Bumpy's eyes and something primal in him chooses survival. Benedetto. We dragged her in there. Bumpy turns to Russo. Bumpy. And you. Russo's voice is low, hoarse. Russo. We were gonna do it. The room's energy turns violent. Men in the crowd shift forward. Harlem men who might ignore a street fight do not ignore this. Women clutch their purses tighter. A waitress whispers a prayer. Bumpy lets the confession hang for a moment. Then he adds the final detail. The one that turns this from crime into suicide. Bumpy. My daughter. Another wave of reaction. Because now people understand. These men didn't just assault a woman. They touched Bumpy Johnson's blood. Bumpy faces the crowd like a judge issuing a ruling. Bumpy. Genovese family. The name drops like a brick. Bumpy. Come collect your garbage. The crowd goes dead silent again. Not confusion now. Understanding. Bumpy. You have 1 hour. He pauses, letting time become a weapon. Bumpy. Before I do. He steps back. Looks at the 3 men. Bumpy. Go. For a second, they don't move. They can't believe he's letting them walk. Then survival kicks them in the spine and they run. Not casually. Not with swagger. They run out of Club Ebony like it's on fire. The band still doesn't play. The DJ's hands hover, uncertain. The crowd is frozen, watching the door swallow the 3 men. Elise's girlfriends clutch her arms, asking if she's okay. Elise nods, still shaking, still trying to make her lungs work normally. Bumpy walks to Elise. He doesn't hug her in front of everyone. That's not his style. He simply stands close enough that the world understands. Bumpy. You did good. Elise's eyes fill, but she blinks the tears away. Elise. I was scared. Bumpy's voice is quiet. Bumpy. You fought. He pauses. Bumpy. That's the difference. Within 45 minutes, the Genovese family responds. Not with gunfire. Not with denial. With a car pulling up outside Ebony, expensive and discreet. Men step out wearing suits that mean business, not nightlife. The underboss arrives personally. That alone tells everyone in Harlem how serious this is. Underbosses don't travel uptown for apologies unless they have to. Unless they know the alternative is war. Inside, the underboss approaches Bumpy with controlled humility. His face is stiff. His eyes avoid Elise. Underboss. Mr. Johnson. Bumpy doesn't offer his hand. The underboss doesn't reach for it. Underboss. I heard what happened. Bumpy nods once. Underboss. Those men acted without permission. Without respect. He pauses, then offers the thing men in his world always offer when they want pain to disappear. Money. Underboss. Compensation. Bumpy's eyes harden slightly. Bumpy. I don't want your money. The underboss swallows. Bumpy. Just make sure they understand the lesson. The underboss nods slowly, understanding what lesson means when it comes from Bumpy Johnson. Underboss. They won't be seen in Harlem again. Bumpy's voice stays calm. Bumpy. They won't be seen. The underboss inclines his head and leaves as quickly as he came, as if staying longer would contaminate him with accountability. The 3 men vanish from Harlem. Some say they were sent to Sicily. Some say they were reassigned to jobs so small they might as well be exile. Some say they were punished in ways that didn't leave paperwork. In worlds like this, truth is often buried under rumor on purpose. It keeps the lesson alive. It keeps people guessing. Guessing is a form of control. Elise goes home that night shaken but unhurt. She showers until the water turns cold, trying to wash off the memory of hands on her arms, breath on her neck, tile under her heels. Mamie holds her afterward, silent. No speeches. Just presence. The kind of presence that says you survived and you don't have to perform strength for me. Bumpy sits in the other room with a glass of water, staring at nothing. He doesn't talk about what he almost did in that bathroom. He doesn't brag. He doesn't retell. He just sits there, a father who understands how close his daughter came to becoming a story Harlem women whisper about for decades. Club Ebony's bathroom becomes legend. Not because of blood. Because of the last stall. Men start saying it with a half smile, like it's a joke, but their eyes don't laugh. Always check the last stall. A week later, Elise returns to Club Ebony. Same night. Same lights. Same band. Same smell of gin and perfume and sweat. But the atmosphere is different. Word has traveled. No man approaches her with the casual entitlement of before. Men who might have tried to flirt keep their distance. Even the bold ones. Even the drunk ones. They glance at her, then glance away. Not because Elise suddenly looks dangerous. Because they finally know whose shadow she walks in. Elise dances with her girlfriends, trying to reclaim the room. The band plays. The crowd moves. Life continues. Bumpy sits in a corner booth for a while, not hovering, not controlling her. Just present enough to remind the universe. Protection doesn't always have to be visible to be absolute. Sometimes the most powerful thing in Harlem is the thing you don't see until it steps out of the last stall. If this story made you think about the kind of protection people build when the system won't protect them, hit subscribe. We're not glorifying violence. We're exposing the reality of what power does, what it prevents, and what it demands in return. Tell me in the comments. Was Bumpy's response justice? Or intimidation? And if someone tried to harm your family, would you want them punished in private? Or taught a lesson in public? Turn on notifications for more true crime history told like this, the moments that didn't make the newspapers but shaped the streets anyway. And tonight, remember Elise, a young woman who fought like she was taught, and survived because her father was closer than anyone knew. Rest in power to the women who didn't get a last stall. The music always comes back. The lights always dim again. And somewhere, in some crowded club, a hallway still waits for men who think nobody is watching.